Good day and welcome to a poetry recording with English Joshua. The title of this poem is He Wishes for the Clots of Heaven by William Butler Yeats. Before we can get into the poem, we need to look at the background of the poet in order to establish an understanding as to why he would have put this poem together. William Butler Yeats is an Irish poet. He was born in 1865 and passed away in 1939. He was very involved in Irish politics and was a passionate advocate of Irish nationalism. He is considered to be one of the greatest poets of the 20th century. He was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1923. He was highly influenced by a woman who shared similar interests, Maud Gonne, who later married another man but still remained an important figure in his poetry. Nature is also a common theme in his poetry works. He wishes for the clots of heaven. Had I heaven's embroidered clots, enwrought with golden and silver lights, the blue and the dim and the dark clots of night and light and the half light, I would spread the clots under your feet. But I, being poor, have only my dreams. I have spread my dreams under your feet. Tread softly, because you tread on my dreams. About the poem. So this poem is a lyrical poem. When we say lyrical, we mean that it has musical qualities. It's divided into three parts. There's a wish, there's an offer, and there's a request. So the poet wishes he could do something for his love, while he can only offer her specific things. And so he requests her to tread lightly on the offer that he has for her, which are his dreams. The first 5 lines of the poem, had I, all the way to your feet, can be counted as the wish of the poet. Here the poet wishes he had the clots of heaven, he would decorate them with golden and silver light. He would change night and the light and the half light in blue, dim and dark colors for her clothes. And he would spread the clots on her way. In lines 6 to 7. But I, being poor, have only my dreams. I have spread my dreams under your feet. This can be taken as an offer made by the poet to his beloved. He offers his sweet and tender dreams under her feet, since he's a poor man. The final line of the poem, tread softly, because you tread on my dreams. This line can be taken as a humble request to put her feet on his dreams, as they are equally good as heaven's embellished clots. He warns her to be careful while walking because his dreams are fragile. We see that this poem has a rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D. There's a sharp change in the tone. We also call this a volta between lines 5 and 6. The first 5 lines give us details of heaven, being images of dark and light, and line 6 introduces a complication with the conjunction but. Again, I repeat that this is a volta, or a change in the tone. We've already looked at the structure in the previous line, that it is one stanza consisting of 8 lines. It is a lyrical poem. It's divided into 3 parts. There's a wish, there's an offer, there's a request. We've also spoken about the rhyme scheme and the rhythm, A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D. That's where the lyrical style comes from. You need to keep in mind that the same words are used to create the rhyme. For example, line 1 has cloths, line 3 has cloths, we see feet in line 5, we see feet in line 7, in line 6 there's dreams, in line 8 there's dreams. So when this happens, For example, line 5, under your feet. We see it in line 5, but we also see it in line 7, under your feet. We call this a refrain. A refrain is a repetition of words to bring across a particular rhythm. When we look at the title of the poem, He Wishes for the Cloths of Heaven, we see here that he indicates that this is a male pronoun. So we know that the speaker is a male figure. Wishes, we know that that is a strong desire. Cloths are fabrics or made of different materials. And heaven has two different meanings to it. It could be a denotation. Denotation is the dictionary definition of a word, and that is a sacred and religious place ruled by the creator of all things, God. We know that heaven is where God is the ruler. It also has the meaning of a connotation, and the connotation is the meaning with an underlying emotional meaning. So heaven here could mean the sky or purity or something being perfect, because we know that heaven should be perfect. It could be something beautiful, or it could be a paradise, as we know from what we've been told heaven is. Let's analyze lines 1 to 5. The wish. Had I heavens as embroidered cloths? Firstly, embroidered cloths is a metaphor for wealth, because these are expensive materials. Something that is embroidered means that it's decorated with different patterns. Had indicates to us that he does not have these cloths. And again, heavens, the speaker here refers to colors of the sky and the natural world around us. So had he had these wealthy materials, he says, enwrought with gold and silver lights. So we see that they should be decorated. Enwrought means made with. Okay? Gold and silver are colors associated with royalty. The blue and the dim and the dark cloths of night and light and the half light. The speaker mentions the contrast between light cloths and dark cloths, the cloths of the night and the cloths of the day. We need to remember that the speaker is suggesting here that he finds beauty at all times and in all things. So it's not about a specific day, but the beauty could be both in day as well as night. He says, had he had this cloth, I would spread the cloths under your feet. This here represents that he is devoted to his loved one. He'd give her all the desires of her heart if he had them. Remember, the word had indicates that he does not have it. That was the wish. Now we analyze lines 6 to 7, which we said is the offer that the speaker makes to his beloved. He says, but, we see the turn here, that he doesn't have it. So now he says, but, indicating to us that he does not. And that's where the change in the tone now takes place. He says, but I, being poor, poor we know is that he cannot afford all these royal cloths that he wish he had for her, have only my dreams. So we see here what he can offer his beloved. This sudden introduction of the but creates a turning point. The speaker can't grant the wish, but he can give her another offer, which is his dreams. I have spread my dreams under your feet. His dreams are a metaphor here for everything he has to offer her. So just don't look at it only in a literal sense. These are the things he can offer her. He cannot offer her tangible things, all the luxuries and expensive goods that he implies to us with the reference to the cloths. But he has something more valuable, and these are his dreams. The last line of the poem is the request. Now he asks his beloved. He says, tread softly, because you tread on my dreams. The repetition of the word dreams emphasizes how important they are to him and that it is the only thing that he has to offer her. So he appeals to his loved one to tread or to walk softly on his dreams. He requests that she must be kind and be gentle with him. So we see the metaphor coming through again. She mustn't reject him or the offer that he's giving her, which are his dreams. This line is very powerful as the speaker reveals to us his vulnerability. So we see here that his dreams are a metaphor for everything that he has to offer her. He cannot offer her tangible goods, but only that of his dreams. It's important to note that in lines 1 to 5, we came across enjambment. Enjambment means no punctuation marks. So the lines flow into one another, bringing across the idea into more than one line. Now we look at the diction, the tone, and the mood of the poem. Remember that these three elements create a domino effect. If you know the diction and you understand the diction and the choice of words that the poet has used, these words create the tone of the poem. The kind of words used give off a specific tone, while the tone of the speaker then creates the mood that the reader feels. Line 1 to 5, the word had and would give off a very hopeful tone, and that gives us as the reader a more romantic and cheerful feeling. Line 6 to 7, the words poor, only, and dreams give off a tone of disappointment, and that gives us as the readers a more disheartened feeling. Whilst line 8, tread softly, gives off a tone that is humble or apologetic, and we as the readers then feel a mood of hopefulness. As we look at the tone and the message of the poem here is when you truly love a person, you will give them all that you have to offer them, tangible and even those that are not. The tone of the poem is one of hope, is one of love, and is one of vulnerability. We also need to remember before we get into the activity that here we saw the words I. I is first person narration. That shows us that it involves the reader, because if you're reading the word I, then it's as if you are involved in the poem. The first 4 lines of the poem have an extended metaphor. Here in this extended metaphor, the speaker compares a good quality of life to the cloths of heaven, cloths that are extremely attractive and of high quality. This could be a representation of the different types of careers which give status and the position of power and money. If you look at lines 3, the blue and the dim and the dark cloths. Line 4, the cloths may refer to actual scenery of the sky, which might represent a happy life that the poet would like to share with his beloved. So we see here that the speaker finds beauty through all aspects of the cloth of heaven. As we look at the activity, question 1, explain 3 parts of the poem and what it entails. We've already spoken about that. Line 1 to 5 is the wish. And the wish is him wanting to give her the cloths of heaven. That means him wanting to give her everything that her heart would desire. Line 6 to 7, that's the offer that he makes to her. He offers her his dreams, as he cannot give her all those materialistic things that he'd like to give her. Line 8, the request. He asks her to be careful with his dreams, as they are precious to him. Question 2, What does the poet wish he could give his beloved? He wishes he could give her the sky and its changing lights. He wishes he could give her the clots of heaven. 3. Discuss the effectiveness of the repetition in this poem. You need to quote the repetition and then discuss 2 examples. Make sure to quote. You need to indicate that you've quoted because you've taken it out of the poem. You would then put it in quotation marks. The first one extracted because you had to have 2 examples. My dreams. Then you also had to discuss these 2 examples. My dreams, here we see that he states that he does not have the money to give her. He only has dreams. The second quote, under your feet. We see here that he is humbled before her. He wants to lay his gifts or his dreams at her feet as a symbol of her power over him. Question 4. Identify the refrain. We said refrain is the repetition of words in a line, and discuss its effectiveness. Why does it work? Refer to the attitude of the poet towards his beloved. The refrain in the poem was under your feet. We see here that it's effective because it helps show that he is vulnerable. He expresses his vulnerability. And the attitude we see here is that he's humbled before her. Question 5. Discuss the change in tone that occurs between lines 5 and 6. So we saw that the first 5 lines have a romantic tone that's created by all those beautiful images of heaven. The word but, which we called a volta or a change, introduces the change that is about to happen. We see that the tone in the last 3 lines is almost him being apologetic, as the speaker excuses his poverty. He's not able to give her these things. He can only offer his dreams, which make him very vulnerable. Question 6. Discuss the message of the poem in no more than 4 sentences. The speaker wants to give his beloved everything that her heart desires. However, the speaker is a poor man who does not own much, so he offers her his dreams. We see that he's willing to lay them down under her feet. I hope that this video will assist you in mastering this poem. If you enjoyed it and understood it, please remember to like, share, and subscribe so that we're able to reach more learners.